Hi everyone, hope you are feeling positive and healthy. Please subscribe with bell notifications if you haven't already, and please don't hesitate to leave your valuable feedback and advice below. Thank you very much. Let's jump into the stories. Am I the unreasonable one for hiding the food that I make for my family? So, I, 15 years old female, enjoy making different desserts. Nothing too crazy, mainly cookies, cakes, streusels, pastries, etc. Sometimes, I like to go over the top and spend hours playing around with the flavors. I love doing this, but the real reward is eating my creations afterwards. A couple weeks ago, I made a cherry streusel for breakfast. I needed to use the burners to make my diabetic stepdad some eggs, bacon, and sausage, since he couldn't eat the streusel. So I decided to move the pan to the dining room and set it on a trivet so that it could cool. I set out a knife and plate so I could quickly assemble their food. When I was done, I want to relax while eating breakfast and not rush because I have to make something else, so I always wait until I am completely done to eat. I told all three of my siblings and my mom that I would cut it and serve it when it is done cooling in half an hour, mainly because my stepbrother and mom have a habit of taking way more than their fair share. Everyone said pretty much the same thing. Oh okay, I can't wait. Making the eggs, bacon, and sausage took about 25 to 35 minutes total. After I had taken my stepdad's food to him in his office, I came back to start dishing up the streusel. When I saw it, everyone decided to serve up gigantic pieces for themselves and leave me with 2 bites. I was fuming. After asking what happened to the breakfast, my mom said that she just told everyone to take some since she was tired of waiting. I was so annoyed because I got up early just so I could make a good breakfast for everyone. They didn't even wait 15 minutes before they ate it all. Situations similar to this have happened numerous times. Flash forward to Monday, I got up early again to make an apple coffee cake. I decided that this time, I wasn't going to tell anyone that I was making it except for my stepdad, who was already awake for work. He agreed with Operation Make Sure OP gets breakfast and was glad to help. Everyone sleeps heavily, but I was extra quiet anyways. When it came out of the oven, I waited for it to cool, took a piece, put some foil on the top, and then set it in the mini fridge in my stepdad's office. This morning, I took it out, had another piece, and then set it on the dining room table. My mom was confused as to where it came from, and I told her that I had made it on Monday. She got kind of irritated and asked why I didn't tell everyone on Monday that I made breakfast, and I replied with, well, I wanted to guarantee that I got some of it this time because I rarely ever do. She started saying that I was selfish by hiding the food from them and that she was allowed to eat how much she wants, when she wants, and can tell everyone else that they can eat it because she paid for the ingredients and not me. I told her that if everyone is going to continue to eat everything without saving me some, I would stop making breakfasts. She's still mad at me for being sneaky and is being passive-aggressive towards my stepdad since he was my accomplice. Am I the unreasonable one? Edit. To answer some questions, I don't make super sugary desserts every day. It was once every couple weeks for this specific situation, but it is normally once per month. Additionally, much of the time, I substitute something else for the sugar. Sometimes I'm just too lazy to do that. My stepdad is a type 1 diabetic. It wasn't caused by my baking, but thank you to that commenter. He normally doesn't eat that kind of breakfast all of the time. I am not going to do something that will get me in trouble. I will probably take some of the suggestions to make breakfasts for just me and my stepdad. Thanks for, mostly, everyone's kind comments and suggestions. Not the unreasonable one. How can anyone call you selfish when you are the one cooking these lovely dishes and they are taking it without regard for your wishes? That is bonkers. I would do the same thing and hide food. Not the unreasonable one. You are not the live-in cook. You are kind enough to make food for everyone to have, so they should be kind enough to divide it equally or even let you have extra because you made it. Sounds like your stepdad agrees. Also, your mom is sneaky for taking the food behind your back when you were cooking for your stepdad. Maybe don't say that to her though, lol. Am I the unreasonable one for kicking out my pregnant teenage sister because of her irresponsible boyfriend? I, 27 years old female, am a high school English teacher and I live with my husband who works an office job. We live comfortably in a newer middle-class suburban area. 4 months ago, my sister, 18 years old female, called me asking to move in with me for a while. She told me she had gotten pregnant, and my parents didn't want her living under their roof anymore. I was disappointed at her for getting knocked up in the middle of a pandemic, but welcomed her to my house along with her boyfriend. When they moved in, I discussed the baby situation with her. She decided she doesn't want to go to college, and that she'll find a job once the baby's born. As for the boyfriend, he's, supposedly, looking for any job he can take. I told her that they can stay with us as long as he finds a stable job, and she agreed. 2 months pass by, and he hasn't picked up a job. My husband offered to go job hunting with him, but he insisted on doing it himself. What pissed me off the most was that he never picked up after himself. He left dirty socks everywhere, dirty dishes on the table, wrappers, pop cans, any trash that he could have put in the garbage, but decided not to. I asked him many times to clean up his messes. He told me he'll remember to do so next time. There was never a next time, and he continued to leave crap everywhere. It got to a point where I confronted my sister about her boyfriend's laziness, and she got mad at me for complaining about it. She said I was overreacting, and that he was just stressed about having to find a job with a baby on the way. Frustrated, I told her that if he was acting this way now, no way in hell was he going to be ready to take care of a baby, and if he didn't find a job by the end of the week I'd be kicking him out. The argument ended, and she didn't speak to me for the rest of the night. The next morning, my sister approached me and said that if I was going to kick him out, I'd have to kick her out with him. I shrugged off the threat, but when the week ended, I told the boyfriend that he had to leave my house. Suddenly, my sister came running in the room and screamed at me for kicking him out when they're in a helpless state. I told her that he had his chance to find a job, and he didn't take it. He didn't argue, surprisingly, and got up and left with his stuff. Next thing I know, my sister is packing her bags. "So are you kicking me out with him?" She kept asking me this. Finally, I told her that it was completely her choice and I'd rather her leave if she was going to stay dependent on him. She left the house, and I don't know where she's at currently. I've tried contacting her countless times, but she won't answer. I've informed my parents about her moving out and they couldn't be too worried. I also called up my town's local homeless shelter, and asked them to tell me if she pops up sometime. For now, I'm sitting in guilt for letting her leave with her useless boyfriend. I don't want her to end up homeless with a baby. Not the unreasonable one. Babies shouldn't raise babies. I almost think the same thing happened with your parents. They tried to help her, but they bit the hand feeding them. Not the unreasonable one. Choosing beggars at their finest. If this is the only living situation available for them, they should have done everything to keep it. It's possible that he honestly didn't find a job, but be that as it may, his messy habits were more than enough reason to kick him out. You didn't force your sister to leave. I would however suggest that you try and contact your sister again. Maybe she'll be fed up with his behavior soon enough, and come back. Am I the unreasonable one for not letting my aunt and uncle/biological parents call themselves grandparents? The version without names was really confusing, so I'll call my bio parents John and Jane and my adoptive parents Richard and Rose. When John and Jane were in uni, Jane got pregnant with me. They couldn't keep me, so Jane turned to my grandparents for help. My grandparents then suggested she talk to her older sister, Rose. Rose and her husband Richard already had 2 kids. They were planning on 3, but Rose had complications while having the first child, my sister, so they adopted my brother and then they adopted me, too. They've never hidden that I'm adopted. I feel about John and Jane the same way my brother feels about his bio mom. He had an open adoption, so he also grew up knowing he was adopted, and saw his bio mom with the same frequency I saw John and Jane, and we sort of acknowledged the relation. But in our eyes Richard and Rose are our parents. When I was 12 or 13, Jane and John had their next child, and 2 more after that, who I view as my siblings, and seeing this Jane and John asked me to call them mom and dad and asked if I wanted to live with them. I told them to get screwed. When I married my husband, I had a massive argument with John and Jane. I wanted Richard to walk me down the aisle, but John felt he should be the one to do it, and Jane wanted to help as the mother of the bride. It escalated from there and ultimately I told John and Jane that they could attend the wedding as guests, nothing more, and if they behaved themselves then we could continue to have a relationship. They came. They played nice, no issues. 6 months ago I had a baby. Richard and Rose have visited, met their granddaughter, and my grandparents, Rose and Jane's parents, have also visited, but we've not let extended family, including John and Jane, visit yet. They came over for the first time today. John and my husband went into the kitchen and Jane rushes over to the crib, and introduces herself to my daughter as Nanny. I say that Rose is Nanny. Jane gets visibly annoyed and then smiles and goes Nana it is. Then, I say you're not her Nana, you're her great aunt. Jane says she's my mother, meaning that's her granddaughter. I say Jane is my aunt, that's her great niece. At this point our voices are raised, but not a full-on screaming match, and my daughter starts to cry. John comes in asking how his favorite granddaughter is doing, and I have the same exchange with him as I did with Jane. They get upset and leave. I didn't feel bad about it until the texts began. Fortunately, Richard, and Rose, and their kids, are on my side, but Jane, John, and their 3 kids, all teenagers, My full biological siblings, plus my grandparents, all feel that Jane and John are owed an apology and a title of grandparent as they're the reason I exist. They watched me grow up, tried to be there for me, and I snubbed them both as a teenager and when I got married. Am I the unreasonable one? Also, screwed up my fake names, fixed the post, but any comments mentioning Rory mean Richard. Not the unreasonable one. Richard and Rose are your parents, but it sounds like you have a lot of hurt towards your biological parents, like, a lot, and I wonder if this isn't worth having a discussion with them about that and why, specifically, you don't feel that they get to have the title of grandparents. Not the unreasonable one. They don't get to enjoy all the perks of being grandparents to your child, when they couldn't even face the responsibility of raising you. It is your decision what role you will want John and Jane to play in your daughter's life, not theirs. Am I the unreasonable one for outing my younger sister to my older sister? I'm not sure if there will be formatting issues as I'm on mobile. So I, 18 years old female, recently heard a very similar story on here where the OP got the a-hole verdict, so I kinda accepted that I'm an a-hole as well. However, I told my boyfriend about this and he says that I'm not the a-hole. Well, I have 5 siblings. My older sister, 24 years old female, is getting married soon. COVID restrictions have been lifted in my area and everyone that's coming needs to be tested. Mostly everyone is happy for my sister except for my younger sister who is almost 14. All she talks about is what cake flavor she likes, what dress she thinks bridesmaids should wear, what themes she wants. And since she's the second youngest, no one reminds her that it's not her wedding. Well, about 2 weeks ago she told me her master planned to come out as lesbian at her sister's wedding and have her cousin film it for TikTok. She planned on raising her hand when they asked for objections and come out to everyone. I kept telling her not to, but she says that I'm homophobic. I tried for a whole week to convince her not to, but then I decided to tell my older sister about her plans. She tried to speak to younger sister, but younger sister was pissed that I outed her and said that she will also tell everyone about both of our homophobia. My older sister decided that she couldn't come to the wedding. Now we are trying to figure out how to tell my mom without outing her again. So am I the unreasonable one for telling my sister about my younger sister's plans, and would I be the unreasonable one if I told my mom why younger sister is no longer invited? Edit 1. Plaza, don't say mean things about my little sister. Everyone in my family is adopted including my parents, and older sis and I are the only ones who haven't been through trauma. We were both adopted from India when we were babies. My sister was in foster care until she was 9 and has been through a lot. She was almost drowned by her bio mom, shot by a cop for her race, and separated from her bio siblings, and so I don't want you guys thinking she's some spoiled brat. Someone mentioned that her normal meter is probably messed up, and that's true. She has a harder time understanding what's normal and what isn't. She's been in therapy since she's lived with us. Not the unreasonable one. Younger sister sounds like one though. Seems like she just wants an audience and will use older sister's wedding for it. Also, younger sister needs to know what homophobia actually means. Not the unreasonable one bit. Your younger sister needs to learn that 1. Not everything is about her. 2. There is a time and place for everything, and 3. It's not because you don't want her coming out at a specific time that was for your older sister's wedding that you're homophobic. I would have given your little sis a pass if she was really young, but the girl is 14. I am 15. I know a lot of other 15-year-olds. None of us would ever make a wedding about ourselves. Just basic courtesy. Your sister needs to grow a pair. Am I the unreasonable one for showering during the day? Am I the unreasonable one for showering during the day? Throw away because my regular account is the username I use for everything. Obligatory, I'm on mobile, character limit, etc. First, to give you a little background, I, F29, moved into my new place just prior to you know what. I rent the upper level of a home with my husband, M33, and we absolutely love it here. To give you an idea of the layout, it's an old house in a very old New England town. Our home is very close to the neighbors. A small alleyway separates our houses, maybe 8 feet wide at most. There are a lot of windows in each house, and these windows face each other mostly at eye level. I have not met my neighbors due to current world events. Anyway, onto the story. Every day I have a routine. I wake up early, work out for a couple of hours, then take a shower. Today, after getting out of the shower, my neighbor surprised me by ringing our doorbell. She's a mother of 2, M8 and M14, and came by to inform me she caught them spying on me while I was in the shower. We have an opaque window cling covering the bottom portion of the bathroom window that was here when we moved in. My husband and I didn't worry about the top half because again we live on the upper level. Someone would have to be in an attic staring down into the window to see anything, and the top half gets steamy anyway. Well, Her sons have apparently been doing just that, going up into the attic to look down into her bathroom while I shower. She said has caught them doing this several times since we moved in. I was horrified and thanked her for telling me, and asked her how she planned to discuss this with her sons. Wrong move. She blew up. Let me be clear, I don't parade around my house naked. I don't press my breasts against the window and shake them around while I shower. I just exist like a normal person within my home. I genuinely did not realize I could be seen. She started berating me for corrupting her sons, and insisted I begin showering at night with the light off to ensure they would no longer be tempted by me. I was in shock and told her I would absolutely not be doing that. It's a safety hazard, and besides it doesn't address the real problem, her young boys being peeping toms. She was screaming at me on the porch at this point, and I told her to get away from me before closing my door on her. I'm infuriated she's making me out to be some kind of predator, when it was my privacy that was violated. I ordered a window cling for the top half that should arrive in a couple of days, but I'm still humiliated and angry. I have absolutely no plans of waiting all day covered in sweat after exercising to shower at night in the pitch dark. My husband is pissed at the neighbor, but my sister, who also has a young son, agreed with her and kind of tore into me. She said if I had kids I would understand. I'm genuinely conflicted. I don't want to rearrange my entire day for these little pervs. Am I the a-hole for this? Update. When he got home from work, my husband and I sat and read all of these comments. Thank you everyone for your input. A lot of you made some very good points I hadn't really been thinking about with regards to the boys' behavior. To answer a couple of questions. 1. To be more clear, the window is 3 feet tall by 1 foot wide. We have a tub with a shower head. The window is built into the outside wall of the building shared with the shower, if that makes sense. So yes, you are standing in front of a window while you shower. The uncovered top half of the window begins just below my collarbones. If the neighbor's window was eye level, the boys would only be able to see my face and head. However, they are going upstairs and looking down into the shower from above. I hope this paints a clearer picture. 2. We had only met the previous tenants during the walkthrough, a man and a woman in their 20s. I have no idea if the boys watched them, but after speaking to both my landlord and the downstairs neighbor about it, as far as they know the previous tenants had no problems with this neighbor. Both downstairs and our landlord confirmed they have not had previous issues with this neighbor either. They are a wealthy family that owns the home. 3. While I can appreciate cynicism, I feel many of the people messaging and commenting as though I am playing dumb for karma, because how could I possibly think I'm the a-hole? Did not read through. I don't necessarily think I'm an a-hole for the act of showering in general. I was debating on whether I was an a-hole for not thinking the window cling through and showering in the daylight without it. After speaking to my sister on the phone and arguing, she made me feel like an a-hole as she acted like it is common sense to have covered the whole window as soon as we moved in. I really never thought of that. Neither did my husband. It was like this when we moved in, so we assumed it was okay. I also worry my question, though not intended to be rude, was an overstep to my neighbor as a parent due to her reaction. I was fully going into this expecting a torrential downpour of "you are the unreasonable ones," hence using a throwaway rather than be traced back to my real name and face. Sorry about the title. I was still pissed when I wrote this. It is what it is, but you can read the post. For now we have taped up a garbage bag in the window as many of you suggested. The window cling I ordered should be here Monday. I don't know if I want to contact the police. We just moved here and don't want to cause trouble. My landlord has known these people for years and is friendly with them. She offered to talk to the mother only if the mother reached out to them to complain about the situation. If not, we're going to leave it be for now and hope that's the end of it. P.S. My husband and I both cackled at all the comments calling my sister an idiot. We've butted heads in the past and I love her to death, but she is quite bossy, holier than thou. I almost want to send her the link just so she can see another perspective. Thank you all for your comments and suggestions, truly. Not the unreasonable one. Who the hell showers at night, in the dark, to prevent peeping toms? Victim blame much? It's on your neighbor to control her kids. Not the unreasonable one. Google peeping tom laws, they exist for this reason. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.